everyone, welcome back to the Shrink Shake Pod.
I'm Utkarsha.
And I'm Tina.
And we're two shrinks who like to shake things up.
And this also happens to be our 10th episode, which is, I don't know, I don't have a lot of words for it, but
I feel like we did know we'll get to the 10th episode, but it's been quite fun. Like, I didn't know we'll get there so quickly. I didn't expect 10 episodes to be this less, actually. But it also feels like a lot. Like, the process felt quick, but 10 episodes feels like a lot.
It's like a big number. And thank you for being here. And if you're new here, hi, welcome. We're two psychologists and we do this every 2 weeks. And before we get into the video, a very quick disclaimer. This podcast is in no way, shape or form a replacement for therapy. But if you do need therapy, we are also the Coping Central. You can find us by using any sort of information in the bio down below. And we're a team of psychologists. And yeah, that's our side hustle, I guess.
But no, I feel like that because this is also our 10th episode, I feel like I feel like a lot. Maybe I feel a lot.
Maybe. That's cringe.
That's
segue.
That's a segue. But that's what I was saying. That, like, I think before we started this podcast, I used to feel like that, podcast.
Who's going to watch a podcast?
I mean, we talking in front of a camera with all of this setup, like, it did feel a little cringe.
Yeah. And it was like a lot of thinking that, are we giving ourselves too much importance?
Yeah. But I feel like that then we gave in. Yeah. It was quite fun. It was quite fun to give ourselves that importance. But no, like in reality, the journey has been quite fun. And I'm very excited to see how it looks ahead. But what we're talking about today is also about the fact that how to get over cringe.
How to get over the fear of being cringe.
Yeah, how to get over the fear of being cringe so that you get to the fun lines. Like,
fun land.
It's like this landscape where there's this like cringe boundary that's there. You have to cross it to get to the land of freedom. I think that's that meme, no? Be cringe to be free.
Yeah.
We're teaching you freedom today.
Yep.
By being cringe.
This might just come out post Independence Day. You all don't need to celebrate the one that our country fought for. This is the one that is important.
Be free from your fear of cringe. Happy Independence Day to everybody.
Great. But what is cringe? What do you define as cringe?
I don't know, actually. I feel like everybody else decides for me that this is damn cringe. And I'm like, oh, maybe it is. And then I'm like, oh, do I also believe the same? Like, that's the thing. I don't think that as a person, as an individual, I have ever known what's cringe when I'm doing it. But when I do it and other people observe it and they see it and they're like, hey, that's cringe. I'm like, oh, is it? And then I start to believe that it's cringe. So I feel like cringe is very much dictated by others. I don't think it's something that you realize when you're doing cringe.
Yeah. I also, to like counter that, I feel like when enough times it's been dictated, I feel like there becomes like a cringe counselor in your head.
Yeah.
Who is like, oh, that's cringe, that's cringe, that's cringe, and that's cringe.
And a cringe counselor.
Yeah.
Should I call myself a cringe counselor?
Sure.
You know what's really cringe?
You.
Emotional. That's cringe. I'm the cringe counselor for that.
We'll get on to what's cringe and what's not cringe. But then it somehow feels like anything or any event where you have this sort of unrestricted access open to yourself.
Yeah.
Where it becomes cringe.
Yeah.
I
feel like that, I think what the internet tells us about cringe is that if it's not liked by a certain section of people, a certain sort of, I don't know, that class, society, all of those sort of elite sort of dialogues, if it's not liked by that group of people, it automatically becomes cringe. So I also feel like the conversation around cringe is also extremely classist.
It is
extremely classist.
Well.
Extremely classist, is ruled by privilege, and also comes from a place where it's this sort of inherent power dynamic that comes in. That, oh, I don't like it, so I'm better than you. You like it, so you're cringe. Like, what if my cringe gives me joy, bro? Like, what am I giving?
Not allowed.
It's
boohoo, doesn't fit into my standards of what goodness is.
But that's a you problem. You have a
Yeah.
problem with joy.
But that's the thing, right? I feel like not enough people understand that we're born into these systems
Yeah.
and like things aren't individual in their existence. So if you don't understand what your opinion is being informed by, you're practically carrying the capacity to hate on everything,
Yeah.
right? Or like to love everything, because then you're just like, oh, I'm an individual in this world and nothing is connected to anything, so I'm about to do anything.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
You can't do that. And I feel like if you do that, if you coolly act cool, I don't know.
Coolly act cool. Bringing
Do
back
you?
the Oxford Dictionary 2025
That's
updated
cringe.
edition.
I use Merriam-Webster. The other dictionary, Merriam-Webster? Is that not one?
First of all, it's Merriam-Webster. Second, I am sure there's not a word that says coolly in it.
I'm sure it is
Coolly.
Coolly. We
We can't be lackadaisical with our usage of words, please.
Have you been reading the dictionary?
Yes.
Okay.
To fit in. And as to
Not be cringe. Saint. I just said saint. That was fun.
Saint.
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 Saint. Like
Means-
saint. We said cringe
Oh,
together.
saint.
Saint.
I thought you said saint, like S-I-N-T.
What?
I thought we're building vocabulary just for the sake of not being cringe, and we're just coming off
We
as
must do. I mean, like,
fucking
we
insane.
might as well do that. Why not? Like, to kind of counter all of the elitist words and build a cringe
It's true, but
vocabulary.
I feel like that's a great point, right? I wildly remember when I was growing up, there used to be like, I can't find the English word for it, but एक शब्द का बहुत चलन होता था जिसको कहते हैं grammar Nazi.
Oh, right.
First of
oh,
all,
my God.
Why are you calling people Nazis just because they're spelling words wrong? People died, guys. It was like
to
genocide.
use Nazi so casually. I was like, oh my God.
I'm a bit of a
Grammar
grammar
Nazi.
Nazi. Okay.
Like, how do you associate yourself with that? Oh my God.
But grammar Nazis, right? That, oh, I could, let's say I'm having like a really vulnerable, deep conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, bro, you hurt me. Like, I feel so hurted right now. And this person's like, hurt.
I would have
like my wrists. Gash. Thank you.
I was trying to be more politically correct about it and say I would have fainted in front of that person.
That is your politically correct opinion. I am choosing to be cringe. I would have slapped my wrist. That's all I'm saying.
But no, it's true. Like, how do people not understand that English as a language is something that was forced upon us?
And it's fake.
It is
All
fake.
languages
It
are
is
made
up. But English was forced upon us, and then we became like these sort of guardians of grammar,
Yeah.
and we're like, oh, like we'll tell you what the correct way to use it is. People express emotions and their feelings and their joy in different languages in which they're comfortable.
Yeah, and there is so much that is expressed which is beyond language.
Yeah.
Right? So if I have to give you an example, sorry mom if you're watching this, but whenever I go to the doctor with my mom, she will find the most creative, god-awful way to express what's happening to her. Right? She'll say like, oh, aise lag raha hai ke, like there's some jurur-murur in my pet. And I don't think there are words that can capture that. Now, if a doctor was to listen to that and be like, oh my God, that's cringe. My stomach is not fixed. You have come off as cocky. My mom is still in pain. Great. Just because we couldn't unpack what jurur means.
Like, that's the thing. I feel like that cringe allows us to kind of find expression in the
Yeah.
ways we're most comfortable. And I feel like that's something we need to promote, guys. That's not something we need to police. Like, I feel like cringe should be promoted for emotionally healthy communities and individuals.
I agree, because cringe allows you to be so vulnerable.
Yeah.
No, I feel like anyone who's watching this, I'm asking you as well, have you not had one of those moments where you're just staring at yourself in the mirror for too long and you just kind of go like,
I will dissociate myself.
see, this is
from
what
this.
happens. This is how strong the cringe conditioning is. I have sadly broken away from it. I don't give a fuck. But sometimes you're just in front of a mirror and you're just like, how far can I take this? How far can I make a facial expression that it doesn't weird me out.
But that's the thing. Like when it comes to facial expressions, all of these cringe facial expressions, they're cool for a picture. Like, oh my god, look at me, I'm so cringe.
But what if someone is speaking to me and I just want to be like,
That would be quite fun actually. Why not?
that's how I'm about to be in every conversation.
Make
shrink
a
shake,
part of
shrink shake
professional-
amendment, make a part of professional expressions. Like, hey,
Imagine.
where is your list of KRAs? You'll get it by EOD.
Yeah, like that's the thing, right? Like that cringe is so. I don't. It's so.
It's expressive.
Yeah.
At the base or like the foundation of it, it's like authenticity without like an armor to it. No.
Right. Very good.
Slam poetry. I used to be a slam poet. That was cringe as I'll never bring it up.
Cringe as hell. But also you have accepted that part of you.
Sure, but that does bring me to ask you, why do you think people cringe at their past versions? I feel like that's something I still find myself
Yeah.
doing. Like I look at my slam poetry photos. I have a picture, I'm standing in a white kurta, and I'm just like there was no need to be doing all of that. First of all, you're 14.
But I think that's the thing that at certain points of time, or I feel like the time that we're living in right now, we expect everybody to be so like with it constantly at all points of time that we forget to have empathy. We forget to have empathy for others. We forget to have empathy for ourselves, for past versions of ourselves. And cool is what is sellable. Right? And if it's not cool, or you at 14 were not, like at that point of time, I'm sure like a 14-year-old Tina would have thought that she's cool as hell doing slam poetry. Like that's the thing. And then the definition of cool changes. You grow with it. You grow with time. You stop doing it. And that's the basic acceptance that we need to have. Like, why is it so hard?
But I also think, I feel like there used to be these stages of being cool. No? So like, I remember that if I was younger, and let's say like you're older than me, so if I look up to you as, like UJ is doing something,
You
and then I
have
would
to
be
mention
like,
I'm
oh,
older than you and everything.
I am so sorry. I didn't feel comfortable saying that you're like my big sister when we also exist in a professional capacity. But yeah, I was being ageist. Sorry, Adi. But context, we've grown up together. Whatever, you get the deal. So, like if you look up to an older cousin, just saying, not related, and then you're like, wow, oh, that Didi is so cool.
Yeah.
So, it seemed like there used to be these levels of coolness.
Yeah.
Now it feels like a teenager and someone who's in their 40s exist on the same plane of
Right.
Drunk Elephant moisturizer, Rare Beauty blush.
I was so confused with Drunk Elephant. What
are you doing, motherfucker?
14-year-olds being drunk elephants? Like, what is this? Oh my
No, but
god.
The brand, Drunk Elephant moisturizers, so on and so forth. Like, it feels like the standpoint of being cool has become
Yeah, everything's so uniform.
Yeah.
And it's so boring.
and there's no personality.
Yeah, I feel like being cringe really allows you to have a personality. Like, I think this is what Instagram Reels taught me. Everybody in my friend list space, whoever likes those cringe reels, the ones that I like too, feel like I recognize you. You have a personality. You're somebody
Like, your
who
humor is
accepts
nuanced.
cringe publicly because the likes are very public. And to like those and to know that others will see those likes, that's correct.
That's another conversation. Sorry.
Conversation.
English is a fake language. Stop it.
Articulation.
But I feel like that's another conversation to have. I'm about to go on a very serious side quest in this podcast. People need to know that their likes are public. Especially men. I am looking you right in the bloody eye. बस
Yeah.
मुझे यही बोलना था. Sorry.
It's true. No, it's true. Like, people need to realize their likes are public. There's a lot of information
Yeah.
we have about people that
And
we
what
might
kind
not
of
want
bodies
to.
you like. No one needs to know all that.
But no, that's the thing. Like, if there are, bringing
Bring back
back articulation. If there are people and they like all of these sort of cringe reels and cringe memes, that's funny. And I want to laugh at them.
Yeah, but also it's so wild that there's this white creator on Instagram who made one of those, like reels that feel like a fever dream sometimes. कि कुछ भी हो रहा है.
Yeah.
Like people are dancing,
Yeah.
someone slapping someone, so on and so forth. So now this person made a reel like that, and
Oh, the TikTok,
the
one
TikTok
that was,
cringe reel,
yeah,
and that went up to like 20 million views.
Yeah.
And if someone's unironically doing that,
yeah,
you're just like, oh my god,
yeah,
cringe. So like the politics of cringe are so
yeah.
wild.
And it's so frustrating to also see that how there is so much just judgment that kind of comes in. Like it's almost like people are choosing this platform to express themselves, and they're expressing themselves in the voice.
Bringing back
voice. They're expressing themselves in the ways and the words and the languages and the expressions that they have grown up amongst.
Yeah.
And who am I to decide that is cringe and you suck? Like,
Time
bro,
to
I can't
insert
even.
my-
Yeah. No, I was just saying I can't even speak the language you speak. You know, you're
Yeah.
maybe very funny. Remember, there's this dialogue from Modern Family. I think Sofia Vergara said this, that I'm very funny. Or like I
Oh, yeah,
think
very-
in Spanish.
I'm very funny in Spanish.
Huh,
Like
I
Colombian.
think,
Yeah.
yeah, like I'm very funny in Spanish, or it's like English panic,
Yeah.
you don't understand and all of it. But
It's
that's
true.
so true.
It's true. Time to insert my favorite meme when you said like, who are you? There's this meme that says, Arey bhai, par tu hai kaun?
But
Yeah.
yeah,
How do you express that in English? It's my most used meme. I just say that every day. But how do you express that? Who do you think you are? Boring, plain, just silly. Arey bhai, tu hai kaun? Dilly, nuanced, brilliant joke. Make it every day.
non-cringe.
Non-cringe.
Non-cringe. I feel like that's the purpose, or like that's why we're also talking so much here about cringe. It's also the fact that accepting cringe or accepting, and I think, okay, multiple tangents, bringing back me being on a tangent. But I think like that's the thing, that cringe also comes from a place like deciding what's cringe and what's not, also coming from a place of a lot of judgment.
Yep.
Which eventually leads us to abandon, leave aside a lot of valued parts of ourselves, a lot of valued interests, a lot
Yeah.
of fun things that really matter to us.
Hmm.
And then there are fragments of us that we lose because we're scared they're too cringe and we don't get in touch with them. And then we feel lost. We feel disconnected. We feel so away from our own self.
It's true, because cringe is what makes you you.
Yeah.
No, because then everyone can be like this one soul manufactured person.
You know
Like,
that
who you
meme on Instagram that's
Which
like
one?
a labubu that's eating a Dubai chocolate, holding a Stanley tumbler. Like that's everybody's personality at this point of time.
Someone had tweeted, "Don't worry, Labubu, it's all gonna be Dubai." One, you have to be chronically online to get the fucking reference. I was in Moorthal yesterday, and there was a Labubu being sold. I was just looking at it, and this woman walks up to me, and she was like, "You know, evil hota hai, mat lo." I am far more likely to remember that conversation than someone just being like, "Oh my god, Labubu, everyone needs to have one." You know, like
Yeah.
that could have come off as cringe. That,
Yeah.
oh, you're not going with the trend or something.
Yeah.
But she decided to be like, that bitch sucks. Don't get it.
Yeah, and then that's the thing, right? Like that at this point of time, we're all so chronically online, almost all of us. I can speak
Could
for
never be
myself.
me.
I can
Me
speak
and
for
all,
us.
absolutely.
There's no lying on Ching Shake Pod. But no, like everyone, almost everyone I know is so chronically online that everybody can very easily be the same person.
Yep.
And I think we've spoken about this somewhere in the previous podcast, that it's so easy to curate a personality
Yeah.
that will be most validated.
Dating apps.
Yeah, like you know the shows to watch, you know the songs to listen to, you know the movies you should have watched, and then everybody will come out of the factory of Instagram being the same person. You know what differentiates from each other? Cringe.
I was gonna say Kahani Ghar Ghar Ki for some reason.
That's cringe on
Like, that's so-
Instagram.
Like, I feel like Kahani Ghar Ghar Ki will give you more personality than Friends ever will.
Untrue.
बा 10
untrue.
बार मरने वाली होती है. I feel like
Untrue.
बा का trauma.
I will not listen to Gen Z
Dude,
shit on Friends.
Baa,
I will not listen to Gen Z shit on Friends. We're
First
bringing
of all,
back
I am
our-
not Gen Z.
You are very much Gen
I don't
Z.
identify as Gen Z. I identify as cringe. But bringing back the correct opinions on this podcast, which is me, Ba, Meet, whatever the fuck was going on there. But that's what I'm saying. No, I feel like this is going to sound a little far fetched, but the wait for things, or like the waiting period of things, one made you cringe, and second gave you personality.
Yeah.
I'll explain why. So let's say One Direction album has come out. Now we know another one's not coming out for 2 years, and we don't know when we're going to see them publicly or hear them. What comes out of it? Fan fiction. Mothers are selling their daughters to hell. You also have to be chronically online to get that. But that's what you get. You get fan fictions. You get deeply estranged, disturbing love letters to bands. And you get notebooks full of cutouts of actors and Shah Rukh Khan. He comes up in every podcast. He's like, Shah Rukh, if you're watching, start paying me, dude. Like, I don't care about this one.
No money, Shah Rukh. Just be
come.
here next time. We'll invite
Replace
you.
him.
We'll replace the elephant if you come.
But I feel like the time that was taken for things allowed you to be cringe and just enjoy it, right? Because you needed something to feed off of until you get something new.
Yeah.
अब तो सब मिल जाता है, like हर जगह दुबई chocolate. Lindt has made Dubai chocolate.
That's a bit much.
आप Paris का brand हो भाई.
Switzerland.
Okay, whatever. Tomato.
But yeah, like you don't need to make Dubai chocolate. Dubai chocolate's enough.
This is a rant about Dubai chocolate. Fuck Dubai.
It's not even that good for what it's worth.
It's just a thing.
It's like we've been eating pista for all of our lives. Like, don't.
But again, white people just woke up one day and decided, oh my god, pistachios are so cool.
Yeah, and we've been having them since pistachio.
Pistachio. I am a pistachio personified. Personalized.
There's no articulation.
There's no articulation today, sorry. But we've been having pistachio since the dawn of existence.
Yeah. I feel like that's a thing. Like, one is, of course, a larger commentary on how colonized our brains are, how whitewashed we are, and anything that kind of doesn't fit into that becomes cringe. And then it's just the fact that, everybody feels like they constantly want to feel better about themselves. And if they call everybody else cringe, they'll automatically feel better about themselves. So I think the larger sort of idea, is the fact that we're getting nowhere by constantly trying to feel better about ourselves. Like I think we've said this in every podcast that we're isolating ourselves enough every day by trying to be unique and different and be the lone wolf. Like, nobody needs that. It's getting you nowhere. It's getting you to a loneliness epidemic that's out there. But nobody really needs that. I feel like that's true. You need to embrace cringe. You need to accept cringe to find people who will laugh with you on that.
It's true. Like, again, I feel like cringe also brings you community. That imagine if, I don't know, let's take the movie Sayyara that's come out. No.
Yeah.
I feel like some people might find it cringe. But then there are people who've sat in those theaters and really cried their eyes out, enjoyed, and other people have sat with them, held their hands, just like passed on a sweet smile that, bro, I get it. Like, mera bhi dil toota hai. But that's what it allows you to do. And if you're non-cringe, nonchalant, you're just like, ew, you're crying watching a movie.
Like, how is your life interesting if you don't cry watching a movie?
It's not about interesting. It's about being cool.
What are you doing? Being cool. Where is it
being
getting?
Cool.
This is my question to all cool people. All
self-proclaimed cool
all
people.
Self-proclaimed cool people. All self-proclaimed non-cringe people. All nonchalant people. Where are you going?
What are you doing?
What is this conclave?
Who are you hanging out with?
What do you talk about there? Because you care about nothing. How will you make a conversation about anything?
Hey.
Who will listen to you if everyone else around you is nonchalant? Like, how? Where? I'm so confused.
She doesn't get it, guys. That's a bit much.
That's the thing. I feel like you need to embrace cringe, to embrace just like,
I feel like it's
fullness.
You need to be able to go out in his field and just scream. I feel like that would bring me closer to the experience of being human than just being like, oh, I'm laid back.
Yeah,
Really?
I feel like, yeah, that's the thing, that when you're talking about your own self-acceptance, and I feel like that's something that comes up in therapy also so often, no?
Yeah.
Like, we're working on self-acceptance, we're working on just like being kinder, nicer, more compassionate towards ourselves. And that definitely involves being kinder, nicer, compassionate to the parts of you that feel embarrassing. And I feel like taking the burden of cringe constantly is making our bag of shame so heavy,
Yeah.
which already is heavy, being in the Indian context, then also being a woman. Like, your shame is just given to you free, man. Like,
Yeah,
ले लो, बहुत सारी है हमारे पास. But anyway, like, if you're constantly also being sort of shamed for what you like and what you enjoy and what you have fun with,
Yeah.
then it's just the bag's just filling up. That's so much baggage to carry around constantly.
And it's also like at one point it becomes like where the line between, oh, who's policing me and am I policing myself becomes blurry.
Yeah.
And it's so important to sort of realize that, oh, I can just wake up one day and not police, you know?
Yeah.
I know it sounds really easy when I say it like this, but a lot of times women and like people on the margins, people whose expression is deemed cringe,
Yeah.
will never be given the space to be like, okay, you know, why don't you go ahead and make something and we'll
Yeah.
appreciate it. So you really just have to fight in the face of it and be
Yeah.
like, okay, you know what, I am going to play my atka latka jhatka reel like game
Yeah.
and move on with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I feel like that's the thing, that calling people, and you know, I feel like this is like a reflective exercise for all of you watching this. Next time you see anybody call anybody else cringe, or you know, you call something cringe, notice the location of that thing, right? Like, notice if it's people who look different from you, who speak a different language, who enjoy a different sort of lifestyle, or you know, like, are living a different life than you. Like, because cringe at this point of time is also becoming very weaponized.
100%, dude. I feel like these, you know, kitty party reels that are going viral, and people like those aunties are probably thinking, oh my god, kids are really enjoying our reels, but then a lot of people are just making fun of it. And what would it mean for you to maybe see how they enjoy it unironically?
Yeah, and what's the problem with people just enjoying things? And who are we to police it? Like, I mean, like, if they're having fun, not harming anybody, not being a terrible person to others, like,
but you know, just see if someone's expression, what is it bringing up for you?
Yeah.
And how that impacts you. Because I feel like it's important to see ourselves in relation to others.
Yeah.
And then see where it takes you. But again, going back to what you said, if as long as it's not harming anyone and people are having absolute harmless cringe fun, why police it?
Yeah. And it's also like, try to find also joy in their joy, or you know, like, your own joy. Like, if I want to watch a cringy movie, or I want to dance to a cringy song, or I want to kind of engage in something that's cringe for others, you know, it's giving me a lot of happiness. And if you don't want it, you can walk out of the room while I'm dancing and then come back when I'm done. Like, I will be okay with that if that comes, you know, with me accepting myself. And I feel like that so much of the discourse around, again, all of these things of cool and cringe and all of these sort of binaries we've made, fundamentally it comes from a place of trying to feel better about yourself. And what if cringe is what makes me feel better about myself?
And the thing is that due to how cyclical the world is, what was cringe once will become cool later.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up loving the movie Partner. Like, just the best film in the world. And we were like, oh my god, like, Govinda कितनी overacting कर रहा है. अब हर दूसरा इंसान टी-शर्ट पे आपके पार्टनर क्यों है? 2007 में तो मुझे कुछ कर दिया था इसके लिए. But what's cringe will become cool, and it's okay to like things, whatever it is, wherever you are.
Yeah.
And just know that we don't have to prove why we like something to someone.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. And I feel like that the grandest yap in all of it is just the fact that it's capitalism.
It's capitalism, dude.
Oh my like god, every podcast. We come back.
Capitalism
to the big
bitch. The big C, the big. But
It's true.
It's true.
Capitalism makes us want to hate things so that we'll buy new things and give money to people who
Making the
profit
new
off
things.
of them, and then tell us that, hey, those things suck. Maybe you need new things, and new things will come in. Old will become cringe.
They keep
We
doing
need to
this.
break out of this cycle.
They keep doing this.
Yeah.
The moral of this podcast is watch partner.
The moral of this podcast is be cringe, be free.
Happy
We'll see
Independence
you
Day, babes.
in 2 weeks. Thank you for being here.